You're just in time to see me take on one of my toughest prospects. Busiest guy in 7 states. He's busy, as usual. Guess I'll just have to interrupt.
Come in. Oh, morning, Bill. Sorry, but I can't give you a lot of time. Right up to the old eyebrows and a tough air circuit design. I need a valve with plenty of flow. A bunch of them, in fact. But, of course, there's no room for them on the machine. Also, I have to keep labor costs rock bottom. So the whole circuit has to be easy to pipe up and install.
CV, this situation is just made to order for Versus Packed Air.
Packed air? What's that?
Simply the most exciting new air valve idea in years, that's what. It's real small on the outside and real big on the inside. It comes with its own manifold that has the piping inside.
You mean all the piping between valves is done for me?
Yep, it comes that way right from the Versa factory.
You don't happen to have a sample of this packed air with you, do you, Bill?
Funny you should ask, CV. I just happen to have my packed air samples with me. Here's kind of our basic valve, a single solenoid 4-way.
We'll use quite a few of those.
Note the round holes on the bottom, CV. The valve mounts right on top of a mating manifold with just 3 screws, like so. It makes up into this neat little package, just 1 1/4 inches this way and 3 1/4 this way. And look at this, CV. With these stacking manifolds, you can build up any valve system you need. Notice that the manifolds are held together with these special screws. We don't use tie rod.
Let me try putting a couple of those together. This goes here. This goes here. There. I think that about does it.
But remember, if you order a stack of valves, they come completely assembled right from the factory. Also, CV, I want to point out how easy it is to remove any one valve if you ever have to.
I'm way ahead of you, Bill. Let's say I want to take out this valve. All I do is remove these 3 screws, and out she comes.
Furthermore, if you only have to remove a solenoid, you loosen this one nut like so, and it comes right off.
Speaking of solenoids, I don't suppose you'd have something in the way of a junction box, would you?
Junction boxes coming up! Here you are, CV. Just make one conduit connection and run the wires right through the whole stack. Each cover is captive. The screws are captive too. And notice this handy terminal strip on the cover.
Well, you certainly have it all together in the solenoid valve department. My problem is solenoid valves won't do the whole job. I need several remote pilot valves, for instance.
Well, back to the old sample case. Here's your air pilot valve. We have a special manifold for it with threaded ports for pilot connections.
I also happen to need a hand-operated valve.
Leave it to Bill, CV. Here it is.
Look, this packed air is a nifty little package, all right, but how about flow? I've got some big cylinders on this machine.
No problem, CV. This little baby has a full 3/16-inch flow diameter. That's 4.7 millimeter for you metric buffs. It's plenty big enough to extend a cylinder with a 3 1/4-inch bore and a 6-inch stroke in less than a second. But if you want that kind of speed with larger cylinders, you might want to use this version with a 1/4-inch or 6.5 millimeter flow diameter. The outside dimensions are the same as the other packed air valves, so it fits right into the same stack.
Well, that takes care of the easy things. But what if I asked you for a 3-position solenoid valve?
Your wish is my command, CV. We have them in air pilot models, too.
Or a 2-position detented double solenoid valve?
You asked for it, you got it. Here's a remote pilot version of that one, too.
Okay, but how about a dual pressure valve so I can control cylinder force in both directions?
No problem at all, CV. But let me make this easy for both of us. You ought to have a copy of this packed air bulletin. It's got just about every packed air option any reasonable engineer could want. Nothing personal, CV, of course. Let me go through it with you. I've already shown you these valves and the manifolds. Here's a single subplate, if you want to mount just one valve someplace. And here's a neat way to mount one valve directly onto a cylinder.
Oh, here's something I need.
You mean the regulator module? We have them, and they stack right in with the valves. Now, let's turn the page. Here's an indicator light for solenoid valves, a choice of conduit, grommet, or AN-type quick disconnect housings, even a guarded manual override. And as it says right here, you can also get solenoids for continuous duty, and for just about any voltage you need.
Bill, I don't want to make this too long. I still have this whole valve circuit to design.
Would you believe packed air helps with that too?
Will wonders never cease?
It's here someplace.
What is?
Versus Packet Circuit Design System, the answer to an engineer's prayers. Here, let me show you the packet principle. The real meat of the system is sheets of press-on valve diagrams. This sheet, for instance, is for 4- and 5-way valves. Notice that there are 10 diagrams on a sheet. Each diagram includes a full-size dashed box that is exactly the size of one packed air manifold. It also contains the appropriate valve symbol. A and B cylinder ports are marked, and so are the supply and exhaust mains. Also notice that these top ones are solenoid valves with manual override. These lower two are single pilot valves. Finally, outside the dashed box is a complete list of part numbers. It says here that you need manifold KM-433-1 and a valve, either KSG-4232, which has a 3/16-inch flow diameter, or KSG-4332, which has a 1/4-inch flow diameter. You can write on the diagrams, so just cross out the valve number you don't want.
These diagrams are fine, but what do I do with them?
Well, as I said, CV, these are press-on diagrams. You may be able to see that they are pre-cut along these lines. All you do is bend the page back and lift out one diagram at a time. Now, can I trouble you for a sheet of your drawing paper, CV?
Here you are.
Now, we just place this module where we want it and rub it down. Because the diagrams are the size of the valve modules, once you put them all in place, you can see exactly how big the final assembly will be. Of course, when I say how big, you know, I really mean how small it'll be.
Hey, that looks simple enough. Let me try one.
He's hooked. Now, watch me reel him in. Let me show you the rest of the packet system, CV.
Just a minute, just a minute. Let me do a couple more of these.
Take your time, CV. See what I mean?
Okay. What did you want to show me?
I just wanted to point out quickly everything that packet contains. This blue tab is the table of contents. The green tab is general information on the benefits of packet and how to use it. The brown tab is technical information, how to modify a packet diagram, like getting a plugged port to obtain 3-way action. This yellow tab includes physical dimensions and information on mountings. The red tab is the press-on sheets you had so much fun with. And there are a couple of Versa bulletins, the packed air bulletin, which I showed you, and a valve sizing chart. This is a valuable engineering tool. It tells you what size valve you need to operate a cylinder of a given diameter at any desired piston speed.
I really have to get back to that circuit design. But I do want to check out one or two other things before I let you go.
Just name it, CV.
You didn't mention it, but I trust that packed air has those great epoxy-molded solenoid coils for moisture resistance and heat dissipation.
Seeing's believing, CV.
And you're still using the solenoid pilot principle so that I don't have to worry about sticking valves and burned-out coils?
Does Campbell's still sell tomato soup?
And what about packings?
We use standard O-rings, and at critical points we use Viton for longer life. Anything else you'd like to know, CV?
Well, I do have one question, and it's kind of important.
What's that, CV?
How do you expect to get all this stuff back into your case?